I'm Ty Hozeska here with my student Alex Noe. Noe,
Hey,
how are you?
Doing well.
This is our first lesson of On Course. So, as we discussed during or taking videos of your first lesson, we talked about your putting and how we did a little practice with your putting.
Yeah.
Can you talk to me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so obviously I've been having some trouble, on the course with my putting. A lot of three putts, things like that. So we obviously had something to fix. So, after you took some videos and we, kind of dissected what we were looking at, and what we saw was the toe of my putter is kind of pointed upright, and I was too far back from, in my setup, and that caused a lot of pushes and pulls and, missing the center of the club face on the putter. And we also talked about, I was lifting my head up early, and emphasizing keeping my head down all the way through the stroke. Just those little small tweaks definitely helped my, my putting game.
Absolutely. And with your grip a little bit, I noticed that you had a little bit of a strong grip that I think can regulate to our full swing videos.
Of course.
Because we talked about the face of your putter.
Yep.
When you were a little bit too far back. I think you had a little bit of that in your full swing. Do you agree?
Yeah, so, I've always naturally had a stronger grip, which obviously when we were looking at it with my full swing, down at impact, the club face was shut a little bit. So obviously we had some tweaking to do, especially with this grip and just the setup.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So now that we're on the course, a little bit different feel from going to a putting green to looking at your full swing on a simulator. Now we're doing it here on the course.
Yeah, of course.
So do you think you can take what we've learned the last two sessions and try to do it on a par 3?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, we can see we got a par 3 ahead of us, definitely towards the green, a lot of undulations.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking, obviously we're going to try and emphasize with the full swing, have more of a neutral grip, keeping the face neutral up until the top, all the way down, to hopefully hit my iron shot straight onto the green, and hopefully, my putting's dialed enough to two-putt.
Absolutely, and luckily, there's no wind. It's just a nice day, so hopefully we don't have to take any other considerations in.
Yeah, so obviously we have, yardage. We yardaged at about 140, so I think I'm just going to do a solid 9 iron, and we'll see if we can get it there.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
So that's a cue.
And for par 3s, would you recommend using a tee or not a tee?
I recommend using a tee.
Yeah, okay.
Because there's been players that kind of like to not use a tee just for their own matter, but I highly recommend using a tee because Jack Nicklaus, one of the greatest players of all time, he always says to use a tee. So when a great player like that says it, I would do it too.
Awesome. All right, so we're going to emphasize neutral grip, and then, instead of just sliding a little bit, keeping my butt out, and hopefully we'll put a good swing on it.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Solid
Perfect shot. Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you.
No problem.